Rachel, and today I'm bringing you a list of books that I want to read in 2021. There are so many books that I want to read, but I'm making these a priority. I started out trying to make a top 10 list, and then it grew to 12, and I feel like several of these have like a caveat with them, so I don't even know. Let's just start the list. So up near the top, I have Come Tumbling Down by Shauna McGuire. As you well know, I love this series in 2020. I still have this one to read currently, and then the next book, Across the Green Grass Field, I think, is coming out in January. So I'd really like to read both of those, but this one for sure is on my list because I own it and I need to read it, but here's hoping that I can get to both of them. Next up, similarly, it's kind of one that becomes two. I really want to read A Reaper at the Gates. I put this off for so long for various reasons, and now it's just ridiculous that I haven't read it. And now I have Sky Beyond the Storm, so I need to read both of these books in 2021. I love An Ember in the Ashes. I'm thinking what I'm going to do is like a whole reread, like reread the first two books, then get to these two. I don't know if my heart's going to be able to take it, but that's the goal. I also want to pick up A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. This came out in 2020, and I still haven't managed to get to it, and the sequel is getting ready to come out here in 2021, so I definitely want to pick this up. I think this is something that I'm really going to like. This is a YA murder mystery, and I just think it's going to be something that I really like, so I don't want to get too far behind in the series. Speaking of series, I have several that I'm going to try to get to this year. First of all, being Conjuring of Light by V.E. Schwab. This is the third and final book in the, what do they call this? Shades of Magic? Is that what it is? I think so. Yeah. Shades of Magic series. I've read book 1 and 2, and I've just not read book 3. I'm horrible at finishing series because I have a really hard time with the final book. I feel like even if it ends well for everybody, it still makes me really sad. So I just try to avoid them. So I want to finish this series this year. I'm really bad too because I like to reread before I go to the next book in a series. And it has been a while since I've read the first two books, so I might have to reread them first, which would make this a little bit more complicated. But I would like to try to get to this year and wrap up the Shades of Magic series. Similarly with Obsidio, I have not read Obsidio. I've owned it since the day it came out, and I still haven't read it. I've read book 1 and book 2, but I have not read this one. But again, I feel like I need to reread the first two because it's been so long, and I think that kind of puts me off of reading this one. But I would like to read it nonetheless and finish up this series. And then I'm not quite as behind, but I want to get to Aurora Burning. Aurora Rising was one of my favorite books of 2019. And somehow I still have not read this book yet. And it came out early 2020. So I want to make this a priority this year and get it read. I don't know when the third book is coming out, but I want to be ready when it does, so I need to get caught up. I also want to pick up Out of Easy by Ruta Sepetys. This is a YA historical fiction set in New Orleans. I've read all the other books out right now by Ruta Sepetys except for this one, so I'd like to fix that and make sure I've read it. I think this is the only one that isn't something that I really have a reference for. Like, I can't tell you it's like this time or whatever, but I know it's in New Orleans, which is interesting to me, and it's Ruta Sepetys, so I'm interested. Similarly, I have 10 Things I Hate About Pinky by Sandhya Menon. This is really the only other full-length novel out right now by Sandhya Menon that I haven't managed to get to yet, so I would like to fix that and read it. This is the conclusion of the When Dimple Met Rishi verse, and I would just very much like to get to this one. I know I'll love it because I've loved every other Sandhya Menon book, but for some reason I just haven't managed to get to it yet, and I'd like to fix that, so I'm all caught up with Sandhya Menon's books, especially now that she's going to start publishing adult books as well. We got to catch up with her. I'd also like to get to A Curse so Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kremer. I was actually reading this book, I don't remember when. It might have been earlier in 2020, and it was just something I had to put down. I don't 100% remember. It could have even been longer than that. Whatever. I started it. I actually got about a fourth of the way through it, a third of the way through it, and I had to put it down for whatever reason because I had other things to do, etc. But I was so enjoying this, and I know the third book is getting ready to come out. I don't know if it's going to be like the final book in like a trilogy, or if it's just the third book in a larger series, but I'm getting behind in the series, and I don't want to, because I think I'll really like this. So I really, really, really want to read this book this year. I'd really like to maybe get caught up on this series and read all 3, but I don't think that's going to happen. So I absolutely want to get the first book done. Any other ones I get done will just be icing on the cake. By the way, this is a YA fantasy book. I believe it is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. We have a situation where there's a little bit of time travel, and like I said, I read the beginning of it and just the sassiness of it. I love Harper, our main female lead, and I think this has a lot of interesting ways this could play out. So I really, really want to get to this one. I also want to pick up another Ruth Ware. I read 3 Ruth Ware books last year. I want to keep up and maybe get caught up with her books so I'm ready for her new releases. So I think I'm going to focus on In a Dark, Dark Wood by Ruth Ware. No particular reason. It's just the next one that was on my shelf. And I think this might be the first one that, like, chronologically published wise, that I haven't read. So I'm gonna read this one next. I'd really like to read the other 2 that I have. I still need to read The Death of Mrs. Westaway and The Lion Game. I'd really like to get to all 3, but we're gonna make this the official goal. This is In a Dark, Dark Wood. I don't know anything other than the fact that it is a murder mystery by Ruth Ware. And I actually found a tarot card in this one today. Is that not weird? Allegedly this is for like finance. So, you know, I'm just gonna get a windfall of money apparently. So thank you, Ruth Ware, and whoever left that in there for me. But I'd like to get to that one. Similarly, another author I want to get caught up with is Riley Sager. I really want to get to Final Girls this year. I still have to read Final Girls, The Last Time I Lied, and then I'll be caught up. As of right now, his new book is coming out this year, which I absolutely want to read this year as well, called Survive the Night. So I'm hoping to at least get to 2 Riley Sager books this year, Final Girls and Survive the Night. I don't know what it's about. I just know it's a thriller from Riley Sager. And then last but not least, I feel like this is a little bit of a cheat because I've already read this, but I want to reread the Sloppy First series by Megan McCafferty. I have read this so long ago, and I really, really enjoyed this series where we follow Jessica Darling through, essentially through, like, I think it might start in 8th grade, and through high school, through college, and then early adulthood after college. There's 5 books in the series, and I believe at least the first one is being re-released this year with like a new cover, a new forward. So it just kind of, I've been wanting to reread it for a while, but that really just kind of pushed me to do it this year. So I'm hoping to read all 5 books in the Jessica Darling series again this year. And yeah, there you have my official 2021 TBR. So I'm gonna put a pin in this and try to track myself and see if I do it, because I am horrible about TBRs. So y'all keep me honest and keep checking with me and make sure I'm reading these books this year, because by the end of the year, when we're at this time next year, I want to revisit this video and be like, I read these books, y'all. So keep on me, keep me honest. Any of these that you think I should prioritize, I'd love to hear about. And any books that you think are tops on your priority list for 2021, I'd also like to hear about down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again in another video soon. Bye for now.